Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy here, MC, and welcome back to Swahili Nation, Swahili to the world. Guys, as you can see, my t-shirt right here is written One Africa. It's a message that we continue to preach right here in Swahili Nation, that One Africa, don't forget to love one another, spread peace wherever you are. And that is also the Swahili Nation podcast, goes by the name of One Africa. It's available on Apple Podcasts as well as SoundCloud and YouTube. Just write One Africa, you'll find every single topic we're talking about right there about Africa, you know what I'm saying? So please go and check it out. I'm coming back to do reaction, and this time it's quite sad topic, and it's from our brothers and sisters from South Africa. The video says why South Africa is still so segregated. That's what we are going to watch, and we're gonna go to react on it today. And I just want to hear you guys, your opinion right there in the comment section, and I think I'll give my thought as well as I'm watching this video, and as well at the end after I'm done. So let's go together, and yes, and I'll teach you guys a little bit of Swahili. Okay, I'll teach you something that is very important in Swahili culture, and that is umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu. Umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu, which means the unity is power and segregation is weakness. Unity is power and segregation is weakness. All right, without wasting time, guys, I'm just gonna jump right away to do a reaction for this. And yes, let's see. Let's go.
This strip in Cape Town, South Africa, divides the beachside community of Strand from the township of Nomzamo. They're only a few meters apart, but the people on each side live
looks very different.
Very different lives.
Exactly.
Strand has backyards and driveways. Nomzamo is much
Oh my goodness.
And
this is the same place. Basically the same place.
People here have fewer basic services. Less piped water, less internet access, and Nomzamo is majority black, while the area across the line is majority white. If we use
there is even a line? Wow.
Dots on a map,
what the government is doing right there,
you can see how stark that divide is. If we zoom out to the whole city, we can see it's actually everywhere. And this is the case across much of South Africa. The color of your skin here often determines where you live.
Dang.
It also determines your quality of life.
Wait, and it's majority of black people right there, I can see.
Jobs and opportunities are primarily concentrated in Cape Town. And this is where most of the city's black people live, in informal settlements called townships on the city's periphery.
People have to move by public transport for up to 3 hours a day, and they can't take care of their obligations in the community with the rest of the family because they...
Okay. I know the story is very clear about South Africa, where it has been and where it's going. But I wonder why this is still the case.
Always working, and they're always traveling.
For decades, South Africa was under apartheid, a system that wrote segregation into law. A white minority controlled where non-white people could live, work, exist. Many were forced out of their homes. In 1994, a democratically elected government took power and ended apartheid. It was supposed to be a new beginning.
Yeah.
But a lot of the country still looks like this. And that's because South Africa's legacy of racial division goes back centuries.
Why? Why this, man? This is really hurtful. There's even a line.
In the 1600s, the Dutch took over the southern tip of Africa to supply ships with food along the trade route to Asia. 150 years later, Britain seized it and named it Cape Colony. Many Dutch colonists moved here, further inland, to escape British rule and continue exploiting enslaved people. Just like the Dutch, the British used Cape Colony as a strategic...
God, please give me strength, because whenever I hear the story of
trade, it wasn't
slave, I'm just getting annoyed, man.
But in the 1870s, that changed when the British started mining diamonds there. Suddenly, Cape Colony was one of Britain's most prized and exploited colonies. In order to get the diamonds out of the country, they built railways to connect the mines up here to the coast. The railways allowed the British to access a global diamond market through the port city of Cape Town. Soon, the economy of Cape Colony was centered around the railroads, especially this main route. The green areas on this map show the black regions of Cape Colony, largely left out of the railroad economy. Racial inequality in Cape Colony was being reinforced by location. To keep it that way, the colonial government started writing segregation into law. The Native Lands Act of 1913 pushed black people into these areas, only 8% of South Africa's land, and restricted them from owning land everywhere else. Or relocated them to the edges of the major cities to work for white people. These laws began to shape the region. Cape Town's growth from the increased trade turned the port town into a major city.
Our own continent, our own country.
Many migrants from the rest of the colony and elsewhere moved here, to what was then the outskirts of Cape Town, where former enslaved people, merchants, artists, and immigrants were forming a neighborhood called District 6. As the city grew around District 6, so did the neighborhood. For decades, District 6 was a thriving, integrated community.
We were a very cosmopolitan, you could say, family almost, because there were people from all different nationalities, from all different walks of life.
This was the statement, your child is my child.
But
that's how it's supposed to be.
In 1934, Britain's legal hold in what was now the Union of South Africa officially ended. The remaining white minority, the descendants of Dutch colonists, took control, and they built on the foundation the British were leaving behind. Between 1949 and 1971, the all-white government passed 148 laws solidifying apartheid.
Apartheid allowed for the full realization of the ambition of the fascist project in South Africa.
In 1950, the Population Registration Act officially classified people by race: white, colored, and native or black, and eventually Asian. Then
natives.
They made laws saying where people could live.
The natives,
Around the country, black South Africans were moved into these areas, called homelands.
Natives, for God's sake, that means they belong there. This is their land, this is their country, this is...
Many of them were in the areas Britain had already excluded from the railway economy, and where black land ownership had been restricted to. Black people were forced to carry passbooks that specified where they were allowed to work or travel to. In cities like Cape Town, the Group Areas Act moved the remaining non-whites into separate urban areas.
The most prime land and the land closest to high-valued property was allocated to white people.
In 1966, the government declared that District 6 was now a whites-only area. The residents of District 6 received removal letters like this one that said living there was illegal because they were not white. Bulldozers drove into District 6 and razed it to the ground.
Dang.
We lived here. We had a life here.
It was very traumatic for a lot of people.
It's like ripping out someone's heart.
More than 60,000 people were forcibly removed from their homes. This kind of violence against non-white people was commonplace around the country. But after decades of pressure, both from within South Africa and abroad, apartheid rule finally came to an end. The new government lifted restrictions on where people could live. Millions of people who had been excluded from economic development for centuries migrated to major cities looking for basic services and economic opportunity.
For any family with no prospect of employment, the most rational, logical choice to make is to migrate to an urban center.
They settled where there was empty land, creating townships on the peripheries of major cities, like Cape Town. The government built millions of homes and expanded clean water and electricity.
But it had a number of unforeseen consequences, the most important of which is that the only land that could be used for the public housing program was on the periphery of the city. And for that reason, a brilliant intention to overcome the apartheid legacy unintentionally reproduced the very same legacy it was trying to undo.
Today, 60% of the mostly Black population of Cape Town lives in these townships at the edge of the city. The thing is, Cape Town city center has land to develop, but because of its location, it's valuable. So it usually gets sold to private developers who build luxury apartments. Nearly $1 billion worth of them are going up by the coast. But right in the heart of Cape Town, by all the expensive developments, District 6 remains largely untouched. The former residents have fought against private development, and they've actually succeeded. Some have even managed to return to houses built by the city.
I wanted to come back here where I was born, which was part of our whole family's heritage.
I couldn't believe that I was back. It was a sense of relief.
But there are still hundreds of claimants waiting to get back to District 6.
We haven't done the difficult and the painful work to confront what the intergenerational consequences are of colonialism, of apartheid.
The story of Cape Town and South Africa's racial segregation starts far in the past, but it's very much entangled with the present. Apartheid and colonialism here are over, but many of the barriers they built have yet to be dismantled.
The kind of psychic scars that
wall needs to be
and on communities
broken,
we haven't
man.
begun the work.
Gotta break that wall right there.
Together, right? In the face of that history.
We gotta break that wall, you know what I'm saying? Guys, we really have to break that wall. You know, this is ridiculous, man. This is 2021. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that this is not just something that it has to be done by black people who are living in South Africa, but actually those whites who are living next to that wall, you know what I'm saying? They have to stand up if they're not really entertain what is going on. They have to stand up to be like, you know what? We are one. We're gonna break this wall, and then there's not gonna be segregation. There's not gonna be. Man, I don't know if this is just my ideas, but man, this is my cry for Africa, man. And Africa is just so divided, man. Not even country to country, but it's like just inside the country, within people and people, tribe and color and all those kind of things, very divided. And I think we have to get over this, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have a lot of things to achieve, and I cannot imagine how much we're going to achieve if we just become one, united. And I think we gotta see each other as human beings, you know what I'm saying? If we begin to see each other like that, then we're gonna have more compassion towards one another. We're gonna have more love toward one another. And our aim and our goal is one, is to be one, you know. And I hope one day we're gonna reach there. And that's why Swahili Nation, we're here to remind young folks out there that, you know what, we cannot entertain hate. We cannot entertain segregation. You know, we have to choose love over hate, peace over chaos. We have to choose unity over segregation. We have to choose that. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, guys, let me know in the comment section your opinion and what you think about this documentary, and yeah, and then we'll take over from there. Anyways, I really appreciate. Until next time, don't forget, love one another and spread peace. Peace, whatever you are. We're one, y'all. One Africa. I'm out of here.